My dear investors, industrialists and businessmen, are your problems chronic? Don't panic. This is Namma Kudla Investment Clinic. Here we give you Karnataka Bank sponsored Experts Tonic. I am CA SS Nayak. ವೀಕ್ಷಕರೇ, ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಟಾನಿಕ್ ಇದರ 96ನೇ ಸಂಚಿಕೆಗೆ ಸ್ವಾಗತ. ಇಂದಿನ ವಿಷಯ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಕ್ಲೈಮೇಟ್ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಕೋವಿಡ್. ಸೊ ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ತಿಳಿದಿರುವಂತೆ ಯು ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ಅವೇರ್, ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ರೇಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಫಾಲಿಂಗ್ ಡೌನ್ ಡೇ ಬೈ ಡೇ, ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ಆನ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ FD rates. Many people, especially senior citizens, they are dependent on interest on bank deposits. Whereas standard of living is increasing, inflation is on rise, whereas income is reducing. So there is a gap between the earning capacity and whatever income you are earning. So definitely there is a effect of COVID also on the investments, but still share market, bulls have dominated the share market, you might have seen. So mutual funds also, there is when share market is on rise, mutual funds also they are also on rise. But property prices, they are not at peak, they are at bottom. Then there are other various avenues of investments, but people are puzzled now. Where to invest, how much to invest, and what are the risk-free investment areas, what is the asset class they should invest, and how much to invest in which. So how to maintain the balancing between all the asset classes. People are puzzled, people are confused, even educated people are also now under dilemma, where to invest, how much to invest, and how to invest. So that's why today we have invited two experts, resource persons in this investment field. One such person, our very popular resource person, already our viewers are aware, CA DB Mehta. So I need not have to introduce CA DB Mehta, but I will brief his introduction. So CA DB Mehta basically is a topper, BCom, first rank from Mumbai University. Then he has completed his chartered accountancy course. Then he has completed cost and management accountancy, that is ACMA. Then Bachelor of General Law from Mumbai University. Thereafter he has completed and he has passed IRS, the prestigious position in our India, we can say, and he has occupied the position as a Deputy Commissioner of Central Excise and Service Tax, and after serving such a glorious job also, he has resigned from that job and now he is into business. He is presently chairman of Credai Mangalore, and he is an expert in our what you can say investment field, may it be in real estate field or it may be in share market. So that's why we call him as an economist. Sir, CA DB Mehta, we welcome you for this Namma Kudla Business Tonic show. At the same time, we have young and energetic person, our Naveen Rego. So he is from Mangalore, Mangalorean. But surprise, if you see his biodata, you are surprised. Basically, he is a chemical engineer from NITK Surathkal. But after finishing his chemical engineering from NITK Surathkal, he has completed his MA Economics from Pune University and MBA from Symbiosis, Pune. And he is a certified financial planner from Financial Planning Standard Board of India. And he is a SEBI registered investment advisor. Naveen Julian Rego, he has been practicing, advising and as a investment advisor and certified financial planner for the last more than 17 years in Mangalore, and many people, they are aware about him because he has given lot of training programs and lot of awareness programs in and around Mangalore and other places. So I invite Naveen Julian Rego for this Namma Kudla Business Tonic show. So as both of our resource persons are well versed in English, of course you can ask your questions in Kannada also, Tulu also, but their reply will be in English, or some people, if they want in Kannada also, we can reply in Kannada. That's why you can ask in any language. It may be in Konkani, it may be in Tulu, it may be in Kannada, it may be in English, it may be in Hindi also. So our resource persons are very competent to answer this, any of your questions. Now sir, the question is CADB Mehta. Now the situation, as I have already explained now, briefed, bank interest rates are coming down. You might have seen in 1980, the interest rate on fixed deposit as high as 15 to 16%. Now the same has been reduced less than 5%, 5 to 6% max. We can say now it is 5%. That too pre-tax. Post-tax, if you have taxation, if you add taxes for that, then definitely post-tax returns will be as per their applicable rates. It will still come down. So now people are in dilemma. So to avoid that, people are investing left, right in share market also. The problem in share market is that now Tom, Dick and Harry, everywhere shares have increased. The index, if you see now, Sensex has touched now 45,000. So I fear these many people get carried away by this move, and left, right they are investing in share market without seeing the fundamentals of the stocks. And you must be knowing, sir, then more than 54% now investors are retail investors in share market. I think it is mainly because of FII's inflow. Can you brief about the situation present and how care should be taken while investing?
See, let us look at the developed nations first, so that the viewers understand what is the importance of having a low rate of interest. Today, if you are in any part of the world which is a developed world, banks will give you not more than 0.5% to 1% interest on your deposits. The reason for that is to keep the inflation low. Whether you look at low inflation brings in low interest and low FD, or you work out with low cost with low inflation and higher growth. The habit of investors in India to do nothing but to just keep the money in the fixed deposit and earn a very handsome rate of return was not beneficial for the nation.
There is saying in Kannada, Kutu undare kudike hanaviddaru saladu. That means if you just keep quiet and if you think that your money begets money, it is not possible unless you plan.
Yeah. Now, if India wants to become a developed nation, the cost of fund should be lower. If the cost of fund is lower, the interest offered on fixed deposit also has to be low only. So there's a conflict of interest between an individual wanting to earn high interest for himself and the national interest. Today the national interest is that the interest rate should be low. So as we move forward and as India starts moving from being a developing to a developed economy, the question of getting high interest rates from bank FDs is over. It's closed, its period. So what does an individual do? He has to look at other avenues. The other avenues are, and mind well, this attitude of the Indian deposit holders has cost the economy very dearly. Banks were awash with money because everybody was putting their money in fixed deposit rather than using other investment avenues, and banks started lending that money left, right and center. And that's created this huge issue of NPS, There are other factors also contributing to NPS, but the major factor is if money is available so easily, then the banks have to lend it. What else the banks can do? They can't sit on the money.
Correct.
So, for a developed economy, this was not going to help in any manner. Now, it's upon the investor to look at different avenues to invest to increase his earnings.
Okay. Now, our Ravin Revgo is a certified investment advisor and certified financial planner also. Now, what are the other avenues other than bank FDs people can invest, especially during this COVID times? Can you just give a light on it?
Okay, so my bias comes more from a certified financial planner. I believe investments are not done because of an external environment. Adu namdu how we are. So typically investments are not like a football match where you strategize based on the opponent, but we look inside us and what we are. So typically if you are a retired person and you are dependent on this corpus for your regular income, you can't change your profile overnight, move away from government saving schemes on fixed deposits. So definitely you can't increase the risk profile. And as sir mentioned very well, that markets are an all-time high and they are giving higher returns. You can't switch your risk profile quickly. So, but having said that, there are avenues available within the fixed income options. Today we have RBI floating rate bonds earning near about 7.15%, and being floating, as the interest rates increase, you can get a higher returns from that. Yeah, mind it, the interest rates are lower, the inflations are also lower as we speak. We also have avenues like what we could say a mutual fund for investors, but again they need to be wary of it, whether they have a risk profile to take it. So we will have a debt fund, we might have an hybrid fund where clients can invest and get some income. Having said that, they need to understand the risk profile. Any investment avenue runs on safety, liquidity, returns and tax efficiency. So if you are looking for higher returns, mind it that safety has to be compromised, and if you are really dependent on that income and a risk profile does not allow, then I think a person should reduce his standard of living rather than taking a higher risk. So that is where the and history has been replete with data that most of the investors increase their risk profile during the fag end of the equity market. So I think I would for all the viewers, if your incomes are not increasing and they are decreasing, don't just increase a risk profile, understand whether you are able to take it.
Okay, very nice. Sir, now D.B. Mehta, you have been resource person in our many of the episodes, even during last time on investment show also you were there. But the situation now, real estate, see people think now share market it is on peak and real estate is in bottom now. So people think that real estate is the good investment now, but still people are scared because of many factors. Before that I will come to one call. Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Karnataka Bank.
Hello?
Karnataka Bank.
ಯಾರು ಮಾತಾಡೋದು?
ಗೋಪಾಲಕೃಷ್ಣ ಭಟ್.
ಹೇಳಿ ಗೋಪಾಲಕೃಷ್ಣ ಭಟ್ ಅವರೇ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳಬಹುದಾ?
ನಂದು 81 ವರ್ಷ ಆಯ್ತು. ಒಂದು 50,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ದುಡ್ಡು ಉಂಟು.
50,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ?
50,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ದುಡ್ಡು ಉಂಟು. ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು?
ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕೀಗ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. 81 ವರ್ಷ ಆದ್ರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಎಂತ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ. 1 ಮಿನಿಟ್.
ನಿಮ್ದು ಟಿವಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅದೇ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ
ಅದೇ 50,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಹೌದೌದು. 1 ನಿಮಿಷ ಕೇಳಿ. 50,000 years. Now what he can do means only by deposits.
Yeah. See, to give a guidance where you don't have data is very difficult. So if you have enough, if this money is to be given for the grandchildren or somebody, then they can be put into long deposits or probably some long term funds.
ಅಲ್ಲ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳೋದು ಒಳ್ಳೆದು.
So ಇದು ದುಡ್ಡು
71 ವರ್ಷ ಆಗಿದೆ. 50,000 ಮಾತ್ರ ಉಂಟು.
ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಬೇರೆ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅಂಡ್ ಇದು ಹಣ ನಿಮ್ಮ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಬೇಡ ಇದ್ರೆ ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಸ್ಪೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಗ್ರ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನಿಗೆ ಗಿಫ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಇದ್ರೆ ಟೈಮ್ ಹರಿಸನ್ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಇದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ So ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಲಾಂಗ್
ಅಲ್ಲ,
ಟರ್ಮ್
ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಎಫ್ ಡಿ ಇಡುದು ಒಳ್ಳೇದು. ಬಾಂಡ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇರುವುದು ಅಷ್ಟು ಅಡ್ವೈಸೇಬಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲ 81 ವರ್ಷ.
ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಡೇಟಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್
ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಇನ್ನಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಇನ್ನು ಕಷ್ಟ. ಆದ್ರಿಂದ ನೀವು ಈಗ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟ್ ಇಡುದು ಒಳ್ಳೇದು, ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ.
ಹೌದಾ?
ಹೌದು, ಇಟ್ಟು ಅದರದ್ದು ಬಡ್ಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಇದು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಆಯ್ತಾ?
ಸರಿ.
ಆಯ್ತು. ನೀವು ಒಂದು 81 ವರ್ಷ ಆದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಉತ್ಸಾಹದಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವೊಂದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳಿದಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಧನ್ಯವಾದ. Now I was touching on real estate, but the problem in real estate is now rental, there is no parity between the investment and rent, and commercial spaces in big cities, there is a threat because of work from home. Many banks have been merger of banks, lot of spaces are vacant, and but property taxes are on the rise. Maintenance of the property is required, and if they have borrowed funds for the purpose of investment in real estate, again it is a issue. So can you just throw light on this real estate sector?
See, we have to understand what drives the stock markets and what drives the real estate. Stock market always runs in advance, ahead of its time, in expectation of the recovery of economy.
That means lovers may live in air.
Yeah.
Whereas husband and wife require solid food.
Yeah, that's
now
right.
it is like a lovers market.
Lovers market.
Bel
Okay.
puri, pani puri,
Whereas-
ice cream and all they can
Whereas
eat.
real estate is like a family market where
Okay.
husband and wife are together. So real estate starts picking up when the actual economy starts firing on all its engines. More jobs are created. People who are in the jobs, they feel secure in their jobs. There's a growth in their salaries. And they want to commit for a long term, because real estate commitment is a very, very long term commitment. You know, if you are taking a housing finance, you may have to pay over a period of 15 years, 20 years.
Correct.
So you can't take that kind of a commitment just on expectation of economic recovery.
Correct.
You have to see the actual recovery.
That is for safety rather than returns.
Yeah. So the concepts are different. What I would suggest is the returns from here on would be muted in the equity market, because equity market has run through a huge rally right now. But maybe 6 months down the line, if you start looking at the real estate sector, and if economy starts delivering, real estate sector having already experienced an 8 years of recession is a very ideal and right market for a takeoff.
That means there is a long waiting.
There's a
Now
long
it is the time
waiting.
to perform.
And in real estate, I have personally noticed from my experience, the first jump is the fastest.
Okay. Very nice. Now we will attend another call. Hello.
ಸರ್ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ, ರಾಮರಾವ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾರಿ ಚೌಕಿಯಿಂದ.
ರಾಮರಾಯರಿಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಈ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಟಾನಿಕ್ 96ನೇ ಸಂಚಿಕೆಗೆ ಸ್ವಾಗತ.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಸರ್, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್.
ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದಾ?
ಕೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. ನಾನು ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ಲೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಅಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಸೇಯಿಂಗ್ಸ್, ಡು ನಾಟ್ ಕೀಪ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಎಗ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಬಾಸ್ಕೆಟ್. ಇಫ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ₹1 crore in SB account, how to invest wisely in various avenues by getting maximum income tax benefit? Next question, according to Dr. Chandrakanta Bhatt, NPS, National Pension System, is the best scheme, but the maximum age limit is 65 years. Is there any other similar scheme without any age limit? Next question, interest on presently interest on bank loan for purchase of flat and house property is just around 7%. One builder has a scheme of purchasing a flat with a monthly installment of ₹17,000 for 1 bedroom and ₹24,000 for 2 bedrooms. Balance amount can be paid in 36 monthly installment. Whether the scheme is good during the post-COVID period. Next question, government says Atma Nirbhar Bharat. Is it correct to merge Lakshmi Vilas Bank with a foreign bank? For the first time in the history of Reserve Bank of India, it has prohibited banks to pay dividend to shareholders. Can we have faith in purchasing banks shares in future? Next question, systematic investment plan in October could mobilize ₹7,800 crores. What is your opinion in investment in SIP, gold bonds, post office savings? Next question, I think for salaried class and pensioners, bank recurring deposit with a monthly contribution is the best one in post-COVID situation. According to Dr. TMA Pai, income minus savings is equal to expenditure. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Our Ramarao, President of Mangalore Productivity Council, Mangalore. So we have given him a title now, Productive Ramarao, because all the episodes he is prepared well and he is asking all productive questions. Of course, since he has asked series of questions, it is not a question, it is a questionnaire he has asked. So we will cover it over a period of our show. Okay. Now the first thing is, don't keep all eggs in one basket. So where to keep our eggs? Can you tell, Naveen Rego?
Okay, so the principles of investment portfolio construction runs on at least 2 to 3 premises. One is asset allocation, that is as the question was asked, don't put your money in a single basket. And within the same basket you diversify. So asset allocation, diversification. The third one is always cost control. So one is we need to put in different basket because assets are non-correlated, they don't perform in the similar manner, and that also depends on the safety, regular income, the taxation.
He told if he has 1 crore, how to...
Correct. So I still don't know his case, but I'll take a shot at that. Assuming he is a retired person, is looking for regular income and his risk taking ability is much lower. With limited data, I have not done risk profiling, compliance does not allow me to talk like that, but I'll still give an... I believe that 25% of his wealth can go into market linked structures. It could be either be equity funds or ETFs or equity funds. The 75% predominantly should be into safer basket.
Okay.
If the entire wealth is 1 crore and 75 lakhs, he still makes 6%, will be below the taxable bracket. So he will not be fully taxed. His income would still be in a nice zone. So predominant portion could be safer. And he would have a decent income. If he does not want liquidity, RBI bonds necessarily and probably the fixed deposits of banks will probably do the
For
job.
senior citizens up to 15 lakhs,
Correct.
there is senior citizen
Correct.
deposit scheme is there.
Correct.
Where the rate of interest is very
7.4,
attractive.
yeah.
7.4% is there. Plus they are getting rebate for that,
Correct.
1,50,000
Correct.
also.
Plus
for
there is
that.
Pradhan Mantri Vaya Vandana Yojana
Yes,
also. Yeah. So
on
there-
that, and
Correct.
they will get deduction for interest. 80
Correct.
TTA,
Correct,
TTB,
correct, correct. So
50,000.
he will, with this basket, he will not get taxable at all.
Yes.
And so with the limited data of sir, I would say that a 75-25 tilt towards conservativeness, regular income, tax efficiency, and some growth would be ideal.
See, I'll just add one thing what
Yes,
to what Naveen has said. Say in Mangalore, we lack expertise on investments in say the bond markets. And in a larger city that expertise is available. So I wish Naveen develops that expertise in that area. Now, as a businessman, I regularly invest in various corporate bonds or various other schemes are there, including government bonds. So when we observe the rate of interest vis-a-vis the reverse repo rate with the short-term instruments, medium-term instruments and long-term instruments, sometimes they behave very funnily. Say like 2 months back or maybe 3 months back, the short-term rate of interest in the market went below the reverse repo rate. So it was a clear call to shift from the long-term funds to the low duration funds. Because then what happens is low duration fund average holding is around anywhere between 6 months to 1 year. And when the rate of interest in the market comes down, the value of the holding goes up. It's a simple logic. Rate of interest goes down, the value of the holding goes up. So your actual return in that shorter period is much higher. If you look at the government bonds, the GSEC what we call, has given a rate of return of around 6.25% in the last 3 months. Whereas if you look at the low duration, it has given 9 to 10% returns in the last 3 months. Now this kind of expertise, if it gets developed in Mangalore, the more specific kind of an investment can also be catered to dynamic shifting. Say like you are invested in the interest bearing instruments, but at what time, what instrument you should hold, in what ratio you should hold. It's a very diverse subject. We will get a lot of expertise on the equity market investment, but similar debt market investment expertise needs to be developed in Mangalore.
Excellent idea, sir. Now, our Naveen Rego, you are a certified financial planner. Now, the problem with the people is, when they have money, they have their own ideas. They never listen to anybody. People, when they lose money only, they will listen to the people. Then they will tell, now I have lost money. When I gain, next time I will come to you. So, this is the problem. So, what is the mentality of the people? Whether they are planning properly, whether they are coming to the experts. See, for other things, they do lot of studies and all. Wherever, suppose you want to buy a shirt, you will go to 10 shops. And even in one shop, you will see 100 shirts, then buy one shirt. Sari, you know, after seeing thousands of saris, then ladies may tell sorry also. So, definitely when we are having so much anxiety, so much analysis for smaller things, why our mentality of the people is such, they are not planning when they have so much money. Can you just throw a light on it?
And so this is not a current phenomena. I think if you go back, and Benjamin Graham had put it very nicely, investor's chief problem and enemy is himself or herself. So we are continuing the tradition. I think a lot of times, even if you look at from post-March now, and we had this lockdown, a lot of people started investing, and we're calling them a new term called Robin Hood investors. So a lot of people,
What is that Robin Hood
investors are basically those investors who do it themselves and on an application. So there is an app which was done in US where a lot of these youngsters can come and trade at a very low price, and their experiences has been very good because we didn't have a single correction post March end this year. So this problem will persist, and there is another saying that a person in markets, a person with money and a person with experience, when they meet each other, the person with the experience take the money of the person who had the money, and the person who had the money loses money and gets the experience. So that's always the case, and it will always happen. So some basic cross checking each one has to do is monies are important. You might be a knowledgeable person, you might not have time at all to manage your money. So you are not suitable to manage your money. You might be having lot of time, but you are not an expert. So again, you are not able to manage. A person who can manage money should have expertise, should have the time, and it should have the patience and the temperament to do that. Otherwise, it is very easy to lose money. And a lot of people call me and say that, Naveen, I want to quickly make 50 lakhs.
Especially in share market, there is a saying, billionaires can become millionaires.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So one more call from a viewer. Hello.
ಹಲೋ ನಮಸ್ತೆ.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಯಾರು ಮಾತಾಡೋದು?
ರಾಮಕೃಷ್ಣ ರಾವ್ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಕಾವೂರಿನ ಮಾತಾಡೋದು.
ರಾಮಕೃಷ್ಣ ರಾವ್, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ವಾಗತ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳಬಹುದಾ?
ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ, ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಸೇವಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂತ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೂ ಒಂದು ಆಕಾಂಕ್ಷೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಆದರೆ ಈ ಕಾಮನ್ ಮನಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ಪರ್ಸನ್ಗೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚೊಂದು ನಾಲೆಜ್ ಇರುವುದಿಲ್ಲ ಈ ಮ್ಯೂಚುವಲ್ ಫಂಡ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. ಈ ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಈಗ, ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ಮ್ಯೂಚುವಲ್ ಫಂಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಈ ಕಾಮನ್ ಮನುಷ್ಯನಿಗೆ ಯಾವ್ದು ಒಳ್ಳೇದು, ಮ್ಯೂಚುವಲ್ ಫಂಡ್ ಒಳ್ಳೇದಾ ಅಥವಾ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕೋದು ಒಳ್ಳೇದಾ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಯಾವ್ದು ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಸೇಫು ಮ್ಯೂಚುವಲ್ ಫಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ? ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮಿಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್, ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇರ್ತದಲ್ಲ, ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ್ದನ್ನು ಒಬ್ಬ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯ ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಯಾವ್ದನ್ನು ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಈ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸರಿಯಾದ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ.
ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ ಅನ್ನು ಸರಿ ಮಾಡದಿದ್ರೆ ಮಂಡೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಕಾಪಿಟ್ಟಾಗಿ ಟೊಪ್ಪಿ ಇಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಹಾಗೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಓಕೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಮೆಹ್ತಾ ಸಾಹೇಬ್ರೆ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ಮ್ಯೂಚುವಲ್ ಫಂಡ್ ವರ್ಸಸ್ ಶೇರ್ಸ್.
See, now listening to this gentleman, it's the same issue. People want to become their own advisors rather than going to a financial analyst, allowing the financial analyst to understand the risk profile, the purpose of investment, and the what he is looking at. He wants to take all the decisions on his own self, like whether to invest in small cap, mid cap, mutual funds, equity shares.
No, he has asked the basic difference between mutual fund and shares. So it is very simple. Shares is you are investing yourselves. Mutual fund means somebody is investing your money on behalf of you.
Mutual funds will in turn either invest in shares or debt market. Correct. Or any other purpose for which the fund has been designed.
Correct.
So, shares will be your direct participation in the primary or the secondary market.
Correct.
And buying the shares.
Correct.
But my advice to an investor will be, don't try to overanalyze, don't try to become an expert. Go to an expert, he will handle your funds, and even if an expert is charging you some fees for his services, your rate of returns will be much better.
Correct.
And your safety of investment will be much higher.
Peanuts, you will get cashew nuts. Correct. Otherwise, if you spend cashew nut, you will get peanut.
You will get
That is the difference. Correct, no?
So, go to an expert and let the expert decide for you.
Just to add to that, so mutual funds and shares, I think the basic difference at an investor level is you drive your own car, it is the markets directly. And if you take a driver to drive a car, probably it could be a mutual fund. Probably. The risk of markets don't go up just because you buy a mutual fund. A lot of people have this mutual fund Sahiye campaign happened, and people start believing that mutual funds are risk free. That's
If
not
the
the
driver
case.
is not expert, then gone case.
No, there could be lorry, the driver is drunk, he'll come and just bang the car, So, and both the side, and I agree with sir, risk profiling and goal fixing becomes very critical.
One more call is there. Hello,
Good morning. This is Rajendra from Mumbai.
Rajendra from Mumbai. So, welcome to our show, sir. Can you ask your questions?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
The question to the panel is good morning. Is that we have seen in the COVID period the market being very low in the recent times and being at lifetime high now. Is it liquidity driving the growth index in the market, or it's a genuine performance of the corporates? And what should retail investors do? Because in this such extreme situations, the retail investors get lost and lose money, and they learn the business.
Excellent question. Our DB Mehta, sir, you can explain about this share market. Now, recent past 30, 35,000, 38,000. Now it is reached now around 45,000. Still people say that it will reach 50,000. So, liquidity, whether it is liquidity driven or it is a performance based, that is the question.
See, first we have to understand what drives a stock market. Apart from the investment culture, it is the greed and fear factor which drives the stock market to a large extent. So, whenever this kind of confidence shattering events happen, be it COVID-19 or be it a war-like situation or or be it a financial market collapse as it happened in 2009, the fear and greed comes to the foreplay. First the fear comes in where the markets collapse, and then the greed starts building up where the markets see a V-shaped rally on an expectation that we will overcome this
That's
particular.
why fear means people say forget everything and run, or face everything and rise.
So, my simple advice to all the investors is never act when there is an environment of fear, never act when there is an environment of greed. If you have investment, sit tight on it, don't sell it off when there is a fear everywhere, and that means you will be exiting at the bottom level. Don't become a big bull when there is greed everywhere, because you will end up buying at the topmost level. Now, if you are not an expert, again my advice is consult an expert. The other aspect to understand is the base of the market is the economy. All these things, fear, greed will play out and even out, and it will become a passe. Like nobody will remember how much the market collapsed in 2009 or 2001 or 1992 and so on and so forth. Finally, it all becomes a passe. These are all temporary events. They may be very high in terms of its magnitude and impact, but in terms of time, they are very, very temporary event. Fix your goals, let your goals be long term, and invest in the market for a long term period. If you want to become your own planner, follow a PE model. If look at the average PE in the Indian market. The average PE in the Indian market is close to around 16. So, if the average PE comes down to say 12 or 13 or even 10, you invest more funds keeping long term in picture, not for a short term period. And if the average P goes to 22, 23, 24, you know that if you want to book some profits, you can exit at that level.
Okay.
This is the only simple model an investor should follow. For more complicated models, please consult a financial analyst and let him decide for you.
Okay. We have one more call from the viewer. Hello.
Namaskar sir, Muralidhar Shanai.
Namaskar. Muralidhar Shanai. You are Canara Robeco Mutual Fund Zonal Head, Karnataka.
Yes sir. Thank you. Thank you for recognizing me.
Okay. Your voice anybody can recognize because you are a good singer also, no?
Thank you so much. So, can I ask this doubt?
Okay, definitely. Any doubt?
First of all, my namaskara to you as well as both the expert panelists.
Namaskar.
Mr.
ನಿಮಗೆ
Mehta
ಪ್ರತಿ
and
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ,
Naveen, both-
ಖರ್ಚಿಲ್ಲದಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಮಾತ್ರ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ಹೌದು, ಹೌದು. So,
No expense ratio here.
okay. So this is a doubt, and I would like to have the views from the my friends. Both are my friends.
Okay.
Now, since the discussion is on taking the expert advice on making investment, as far as a common man is concerned, who would like to make some better returns
Correct.
in the current environment. So my doubt is that now, since I am associated with mutual fund industry,
Correct.
Security Exchange Board of India is taking lots of measures and steps to protect the interest of the investors, and they have come out with series of measures on the intermediaries.
Yeah.
And now recently the IFAs, these independent financial advisors, are being called as mutual fund distributors because of so many reasons, and they expect that these so-called experts should register with SEBI. So my doubt is that mutual fund industry being so becoming bigger and bigger, the advisory community is very low, very small. Out of a lakh of people who have got the AMFI, that NISM certification, only about close to about 15,000 to 20,000 may be the active advisors.
Correct.
This is one aspect. So there is very low ratio of, when compared to the insurance, low ratio of advisors available in the market. And there is parallelly many banks, most of the banks are advising on many aspects on the investment, which mostly it is forced selling, no expert advice. So many of the customers of Canara Bank becomes victims. So what is your opinion on this particular aspect? Whether SEBI or government, whether they or RBI should come out with certain kind of regulations or the guidance on these banks who advise on this financial product. Normally, the bankers are expert in their own channel, that is core banking, not on investment, but they do advise, and investors are feeling the hit. That is the one doubt.
Correct.
And second doubt is that now in the last 3 months, FIS have pumped in more than 1 lakh crore into equity market. And in the whole year, and also BIIs as well as mutual fund, both industries have been net sellers to the extent of more than 70,000 crore. What does it indicate? This is my doubt, and would like to have your views.
Excellent questions, or googlies only. Now our both the resource persons are, I think, confident of hitting sixers for your googly. Sir, your answer for his
So
googly.
I will answer the larger issues raised, and the SEBI regulation and all, I would suggest that Naveen is a better person to answer to that.
Okay.
The larger picture that the question he has raised is
FIIs.
why FIIs are large investors, and at the same time why mutual funds are the large sellers. Now, the way the mutual fund industry is working in India is, it has been a market stabilizer in a way, and if you look at the fund flow that comes into the mutual fund industry, is a stable fund flow over a period of time in India. It does not change so drastically. It goes up a little as the markets keep moving up, but it does not vary so much as the index varies. So the deviation factor of the investment coming in is much lower compared to the deviation in the indices. So what happens is the average cost of holding for a mutual fund is always a little low in India, the domestic mutual fund. So when the market sees a 30, 40, 50% upward move in such a short span, the tendency in the Indian mutual fund is to book profits, knowing very well that there will be a correction that will happen at some point in time, and to start reinvesting at that point in time. Whereas FII's investment is driven largely by liquidity factors, the global liquidity factors. So when they come in, when the liquidity world is awash with liquidity, they come in big hordes, and when the liquidity dries up, they exit simultaneously from all the markets.
No sentiments.
No sentiments attached. So when they start dumping a particular country or a particular sector or a particular stock, they will dump till the time the stock is finished or that the country is wiped out. Now that causes a huge fluctuation. Now if you look at the domestic mutual fund, especially the public sector controlled mutual funds, their role is not only to give a good return to the investors, but to stabilize this kind of market fluctuations. If the markets run up too fast, it's again a problem, because when it collapses, it will collapse too hard.
Correct.
Whereas when the markets are falling too hard, we need someone to stabilize it also.
Correct.
So that these FIIs have limited influence on the volatility of the Indian markets. So that's why we will always see, when markets are too heated up, mutual fund will increase the supply, and when the markets are falling too drastically, mutual funds will start accumulating stocks.
That means mutual funds, in one way, they are making balancing act.
Yeah,
in the economy.
Yeah, the reason for that is because many of these mutual funds are controlled by the public sector banks. A lot of funds are available in the market. UTI is one of the largest AMCs today, and they have definitely some influence from the government also to do the market stabilizing job.
Okay, very nice. Now our Rego, he has mentioned about cross-selling by banks. So cross-selling, instead of telling it cross-selling, he has mentioned that forced selling and obligatory selling. I have also seen many banks, they are making cross-selling without knowing the depth of it. Of course, if they appoint some qualified persons in that, and if they study and advise, it's okay. When the loan paper is signed on left hand side, right hand side, insurance or some cross-selling person will sit. So what is your opinion about this cross-selling by banks?
Correct. Okay. I'll look at the larger issue. So if you look at the regulation per se, we don't have any single regulation which takes care of investors' interest. We have 4 regulators in the country. We have SEBI on securities market, we have IRD on insurance, we have PFRD on the pensions, and we have, say, real estate, we have RERA, and then RBI on the banks. So there is no customer facing regulation available. Each regulator takes care of its products. So predominant of this is today is SEBI and IRDA. So if you are, as a customer, and I'd like you to understand this very well, as a customer, if you are approaching any institution, any broker, any bank, please understand what is the earnings from this transaction. Correct. Who is paying for this? If you are paying, then the conflict is not
anybody
there.
may canvas, but you take proper suggestion or guidance from the proper expert, then you go for advice. Investment.
Correct. That is one, but
otherwise you are overtaking the car without seeing the on the what you can say, the curvy roads. Correct, without seeing front side who is coming or who is not coming.
Correct. Just see, but see, we have this broad picture like MFDs, we have stock brokers under SEBI. So if you are very sure that you want a stock related transaction and advice, and you know that the pricing is done by the broker, then it is okay, you are aware. If you are going to mutual fund distributor and you know very well that is a transaction price which will go to the distributor and fully aware of that, then it is perfectly okay. If you are going to an insurance guy and you know that the transaction is not free,
in mutual fund also one problem is there. They always talk about what is the past. When economy, now see gold prices have also doubled, tripled, and there is a multiple, as you can say, instead of geometric progression, there is a arithmetic progression, there is a geometric progression in the jump of gold prices. So is the case in all the cases.
Correct.
Then mutual fund, they will give past record. Somebody in a classroom, some teacher asked one student, it seems. So, I am beautiful, which tense? Our DB Mata Saab was a very smart boy. Then he told, past tense, ma'am. So, like that. So, now the situation is like that. People sell on the basis of their earlier glory rather than the present performance and future realistic views. So, we have one more caller now. Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Tristan Sikwera calling from Nagori.
Tristan Sikwera from Nagori. Can you ask your question?
I actually have two questions to ask.
Yeah, please.
My first question is the Nifty index. In the last 10 years, it has delivered 121% return on an average 12%. So should an investor invest in a Nifty index fund which does not require an expert for handling that fund?
Correct.
And my second question is, markets always hit highs and lows. So whenever markets hit an extreme low, should investors wait for such an opportune moment to invest and make these big returns like how investors like Warren Buffett and all have done?
Yeah.
Or should the investors invest on a more consistent basis to get average returns on a regular basis? So my question is for both CA DB Mehta and to Mr. Naveen Julian Rego.
Okay, excellent question. You are, what are you doing, Tristan Sikwera?
I am actually an ACCA student and I'm also working at the same time.
Excellent, excellent. Very good questions. I think you are studying not only your curriculum, you are studying what's happening, what's happening all over. That's really we should appreciate. So Warren Buffett told the stock market is a device to transfer money from the impatient to the patient. Sir, can you throw light on this Nifty index 121% increase now, whether to invest in individual stocks or Nifty index?
See, it depends on the risk profile of the investor. Okay, so he can choose, between these Nifty or the sectoral investment, or not to put all eggs in one basket and go to the bonds and gold and other forms of investments also. All that depends on a risk profile and the goal for investment that the investor has. But to answer a specific question, whether one should go for an average systematic investment plan irrespective of the market fluctuation, or whether one should invest more when the markets are down and invest less when the markets are up. I had already mentioned in my previous comment that a smart investor can follow that model, and that is the PE model. Look at the average PE of Nifty for the last 4 or 5 years, and if the PE is say around 16 or 17, if the PE starts falling below 12, start increasing your investments for those months a little on the higher side. And if the PE starts going up about 22, 23, invest little less. That is one model any investor can follow, without much of an adverse expertise. And for more complicated decisions to be made for structured investments, my again reply will be for all investors, don't become an expert in this domain, because there are a lot of factors to be taken into account. Let a certified financial analyst or a fund advisor take those decisions for you.
Our Rego.
Yeah, I'll totally agree with what sir mentioned, but just to add that whether I should invest in Nifty or Nifty Next 50, I think the wealth will not get created by fund selection. It will be created more by your allocation of your entire basket, how much you are taking risk or higher return product. So I think the product selections are much easier than the allocator. So I think if that Nifty is hardly 5% of a portfolio, even if it gives 1000% return, I don't think it will add any value. So to add significant value, you need to see see what should be the percentage of your overall wealth, such things, and that is where I think your own risk profile determination, if you are do-it-yourself investor or somebody else can handle. SIPs are more about savings rather than actually returns. So a lot of investors, if you ask them not to save because the markets are up, I think they will go out and do some spending, and that is an 100% loss proposition rather than investing in market and losing 25%. So I think more money is created by saving rather than getting higher returns. And just to put in data, I had done a small study. If somebody is earning say 100 rupees and two friends, one of them saves 10 rupees per month but gets 20% return on his, another friend saves say 25% and only gets say 8% return. You fast forward say 15-20 years, the guy who saved more had got less returns, made more money than the guy who got high returns and saved less. So I think the whole crux is for all the viewers, look inward, save more. Investment products will not determine your wealth, you will determine your wealth. Your asset allocation, your savings ability, your diversification, cost control. Yeah.
So you want to say that bottom line is more important than top line?
I'll just add to his this thing. Those who bought Tesla car say 5 years back and spent 30 lakhs. Today the same car, if you sell in the market, you will get 15 lakhs. But those who bought 30 lakhs worth Tesla shares is today worth 10 crores.
I think you could just add, when this Maruti IPO came in 2004, if you would have not bought that Alto at 1.5 lakh, whatever, or Maruti 800, then bought Maruti shares, I think you would have had an Audi now.
So
Probably, yeah.
in all the cases it's like this only. Ifs and buts are always there, but we cannot act on ifs and buts. The realistic things we have to see. So we have discussed a lot of aspects and a lot of viewers of the questions also you have answered. ವೀಕ್ಷಕರೇ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, whatever advices or whatever statements made here are only analysis in our studio. You need not have to act on the advice of any of the discussions here. So this is the disclaimer from our side. Whatever you want to invest and wherever you want to make offload or onload the investment, you always consult proper professionals or proper competent advisors. Ante helta we are continuing this show. Sir, now India is undisputedly the only country shining in all their investment parameters like political stability or investment friendly policies, transparency, skilled talent pool and a large market. Our Prime Minister Narendra Modi also, while addressing Invest India conference in Canada through video conferencing, he has mentioned about all these points. So how is India's journey and what are the expectations? So what you can say, Invest India conference in Canada, whatever our Modi said. So sir, do you think that our India's journey which he has showcased, whether it will attract the investment now?
See, if you look at the growth rate of India in its GDP, the expectations were always that India will grow at 9 to 10%, but we are always underperformed. So the reforms are happening, but they are not happening at the space and the sectors which one would expect it to happen. So like your administrative reforms are non-existent, your judicial reforms non-existent, labor reform, some reform has been done but it is too small, too late, still a large.
Because of our federal structure, even though central government decides something, again state governments come in the way.
And the way bureaucracy.
Even our farmers now you see.
Yeah, now this farm laws. Now we are not able to get most of the reforms implemented at the ground level because of the federal structure, because there is a lot of opposition from different people having different interest. Now having said that, India has still achieved a decent GDP growth over the last 2 decades, if you look at it, averaging around 6.5%, which is pretty decent over a long term.
Now there is a negative GDP growth now because of COVID situation.
COVID situation is an exception, but next year onwards we will again have positive growth. Now coming back to FDI, which is a big barometer of the potential in the Indian economy and the reforms carried out by different governments over a period of time. If you look at the analysis from the year 2000 to 2020, we have received 720 odd billion dollars into the Indian economy, out of which $500 billion have come into the equity market. Now, this does not generate that kind of greenfield or brownfield growth or that kind of employment.
Just they want their returns, that's why they are investing.
That's why they are
That
investing.
there is no, that investment
So-
will not make,
Yeah, so if you look at it in the
instead
last,
of FII investment, FDI if it is there,
yes.
that will
So if you look
boost
at
the
last
economy.
20 years, we
Okay.
have attracted only $220 billion, which is roughly around $11 billion per annum into greenfield or brownfield investment, which is very, very low. Now, why FDI is still reluctant in coming and setting up greenfield projects are because of lack of reforms in administrative, judicial, labor and various other sectors. So, if that can happen, we can easily attract annually $150 billion worth investment, out of which $50 to $75 billion will be in setting up greenfield infrastructure.
Okay. Now we have one caller. Hello.
ಹಲೋ
Who's speaking?
ನಾನು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಚಂದ್ರಕಾಂತ್ ಭಟ್ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು.
ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಚಂದ್ರಕಾಂತ್ ಭಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದುಬೈ ಅಲ್ವಾ?
ಹೌದು ಸರ್.
ಹೇಳಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳಬಹುದಾ? ನೀವೇ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ನೀವು?
ನನ್ನ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಇಬ್ಬರು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟ್ ಗೆ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ, ಇಬ್ಬರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ. ಮೈ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಟು ದೆಮ್ ಈಸ್, ಆರ್ ವಿ ಹೆಡಿಂಗ್ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ದ ರಿಪೀಟ್ ಆಫ್ 2008? This is question number one. Why I feel is, more than any institutional activity in the market, it is the overpowering retail participation, especially the youngsters of today, the tech-savvy youngsters who are investing through the platforms, different apps, which has become a big danger to the market. They don't listen to anyone, they don't have any advisors, they are do-it-yourself investors. Are they not the ones who are creating a huge risk in the market? And are we heading towards a repeat of 2008? This is my question number one. Question number two is, in the recent SEBI regulations and everything, there is a lot of scope given to do-it-yourself investors. I personally feel, yes, there were problems and it had to be done, but that is creating additional problems as well. For example, now everybody, YouTubers or practitioners, everybody is talking about how much you can save by going do it yourself, but everybody is overlooking one major cost factor. That cost factor is the cost of mistakes that is being done by the individual. Is it not a high time, Mr. Igo, that a campaign should be set in motion wherein which you say invest always through the advisor? These are my two questions to the two dignified faculties on the channel today.
Excellent questions. Now, first thing is we can talk about this recent SEBI regulations, that self-investment. So, like our Tenali Rama's bill, so it's not drinking the milk, because hot milk. So, once bitten, twice shy. I can continue that slogan also. Twice bitten, always shy. So, what is your opinion about it?
I will allow that Navin to answer, but I will answer his first part of the question.
Okay.
That are we heading towards a collapse as we had in 2009 or 2001? Okay. Now, there is a difference in this market vis-a-vis 2009 market. The collapse which happened in the later part of the 2019 and early part of 2020 was because of COVID factor, nothing else. And we are coming out of that situation because it will not disturb the economy to the extent the financial collapse would have disturbed in the year 2008. So, I don't see that the market is in unrealistic exuberance to the extent where it will fall another 30-40% from here. My answer is clearly no. There are excesses that is happening primarily A, because of the liquidity that's getting into the market, B, because of people who are all now going into this Robin Hood kind of an investment culture, and they have made easy money in the last 6 months. So my worry with them is that at the index level it will not have a great impact. Maybe at the individual level some of them may end up taking a risky or unwise decisions, but at the index level that will not bring in about a collapse in the market. What will bring in about a collapse in the market is a lack of vaccine over a longer term period, B, COVID resurfacing with double the strength than it has already displayed, and bringing about once again lockdown globally and bringing an halt to the economic activity, or C, sectoral wise or the country wise, the economic recovery not measuring up to the expectation what the investors have. Now in India especially, I am very happy to say that the current government has used this COVID crisis as an opportunity to push more reforms. So my personal expectation is that the real economic recovery will happen. We will see a good economic growth in the next year. The question is whether that is already been priced in the current price of the equity. The answer is no. We still have some room for the upward movement, which may be another 10 or 15% more from here. And these speculators, for them, the market will give lot of opportunities between different sectoral plays. So like if you have observed the sectors very closely post COVID, the first sector to really give fantastic returns was the pharma sector, which was closely followed by the digital and the IT economy, which was again followed by the NBFCs. Now slowly it is moving into the real old economic sector. Now finally the economic recovery will come by creation of jobs. The jobs can be created only through the old economy. You cannot cater to the Indian job market where the requirement runs into millions of jobs by the new economy. So if that starts kicking in, I see markets will hold on to these levels. There may be small corrections up and down.
Do you think that now these government measures are for creation of jobs? Whether it will heading towards creation of jobs?
It will happen, because eventually as
Atmanirbhar Bharat, lot of packages they have involved.
Lot of reforms,
lot of policies they have changed.
And even the stabilizing of the financial markets, where a sudden collapse of the industries or the bank could have created a 2008 kind of a scenario. That's been completely taken out of the table because of the reforms and the the schemes which the government has come out with.
Correct. Now our Naveen Rego, that SEBI recent guideline regulation, do it yourself. What is your opinion on that?
Yeah, so SEBI's prime intention is protecting the investor's interest, and it is never has been the protecting the intermediaries' interest, and SEBI was set up not for intermediaries but for investors. So that is something which all investors and advisors need to keep in focus. So the only thing is, I think investors should have this bias beware, and investors are doing certain mistakes. I think it is for them to understand and get experience. And
it is like a love marriage rather than arranged marriage.
Correct. So we can't force the regulator to ask people to go to advisors. That's not very fair. That's people can choose their own thing and they want to do the mistakes. I think we can't have that attitude where it is forced onto each investor that they go to an expert. I think the choice should be left, and that's what democracy is all about. Yes.
That means they don't want intermediaries in between. That intermediaries issue, I will tell you, NPS, it is a fantastic product. All over the world, we can say. Even our Chandrakant Bhatt was the resource person in our 2 weeks ago, that program on National Pension Scheme. It is an excellent scheme. But how many of people they are investing? How many of people it reached? because of the lack of intermediates and distribution system. What is your opinion, sir, on NPS?
See, those who have missed out, planning for their retirement or their long-term financial goals, for them it was a godsend opportunity.
Now also it is good, no?
Yeah, it's a fantastic opportunity. They can, go forward and invest in NPS. And those who have been already investing, they can add up with NPS into their portfolio.
Only restriction part was that when you get retired, the 40% suddenly gets a very low rate of return, which brings down. And probably some like regulation happens that we can actually withdraw the corpus a certain percentage. Would have been much
but for that, they have given the choice, no? In that, during retirement, immediately they need not have to withdraw.
Correct.
They can prolong up to the age of 70 years, no?
Correct.
Thereafter also they can. I think
that corpus, but the main corpus, 40% gets still stuck with them. That's slight of an issue.
But
I think, but they have reformed it big time from the time it started till now. Yes.
But now the issue is lot of only government employees they get pension, and businessmen and other employees, private sector employees, there is no pension scheme, and now there is a deduction under income tax also, additional 50,000 for NPS. On seeing all these things, I think NPS is the better product. Even in tier 2 also, if they invest in NPS, of course it is taxable. It is acting like a mutual fund, where the expense ratio in mutual fund is much more, and NPS it is very less.
Very low. Yes.
Sir, now what is your opinion about this portfolio investment, portfolio management services? Many people are having, that earlier the cap was 25 lakhs minimum. Now they have increased to 50 lakhs. So what is your opinion on this portfolio investment?
See, portfolio investments are primarily meant for
whether they are better or this mutual fund
is better. No, it's not A is better than B, because it depends on your risk profile, the amount, the surplus that you have which you want to deploy in the equity market, and your risk taking abilities. So for HNIs, high net worth individuals, portfolio management is a better way of investing rather than going through the mutual fund scheme. See, mutual fund scheme, what happens is the returns will be average because the profile of investment is like that. In any equity scheme, you will see mutual fund investing in 30, 40, 50 companies. And when you invest in such a large number of companies, you know that some companies will do well, some will not do well, and your returns get averaged out. Whereas those who want concentrated high rate of return and are willing to take high risk, they can go for portfolio management schemes, where you can either go for a standard portfolio, or you can even get your portfolio restructured as per your requirement.
Okay. But one disadvantage in portfolio management is, in mutual fund, suppose there are some stocks which they have purchased in portfolio management, they cannot add further to just average out or anything, because additional investment should come. But in mutual funds, they are going on selling the new products, that funds can be invested in and all, that can be average, no?
No, see, there are schemes where you can even cater to an individual portfolio. So like I do recall that with one particular mutual fund, I had invested in the portfolio management scheme, where it was based on the number of shares which they would want to invest was left to the investor to decide. So you could choose, I want only 5 scripts to be invested in my portfolio, and there was no question of investing till the end of the term of the portfolio. There was a flexibility given to move in and move out of the portfolio. So there are different schemes available, but it depends. It's only catering to HNI, because then the funds to be invested in portfolio will be much larger to cater to your individual requirement.
Now our regos, now stock market. So which sectors now investment is advisable?
Yeah, okay. So sectoral investment generally for an average retail investors are not
present situation.
Correct. I generally not recommended, because when you're asking them to invest, you also need to tell them when to exit it. But otherwise, I think most of us do good buying but do very bad selling. So but having said that, I think if you look at the overall the markets how they have moved, I think the old economy sectors have not participated to that extent. Again, I would like to repeat, this is for people who are savvy in maintaining their entries and exit, but the bias would be because most of these old economy sectors didn't take off. The large companies which have not really taken part fully would be probably the beneficiary whenever we have a good growth rate coming back, and the focus of the government would also be around this. So I think this would be. So, but please understand, if you're going to these type of sectoral funds or sectoral portfolios, sectoral stocks, you also need to sometimes time their exit. Yeah, so that is with that higher risk profile.
That means if you have long range plans, then only you have to go for this.
Could be. But again, you need to rebalance. Yeah, no, it could be. No, it would be more from a shorter to medium time frame, I would say, not a very long time frame. Okay. Yeah.
Sir, you are now CREDAI chairman. So investment in real estate, commercial properties versus residential properties. Now, forget about that owning one house, my dream house, all those things. Irrespective of the returns, people will always buy. As an investment in commercial real estate, that is commercial properties, what is your opinion?
See, because of COVID, there are certain lifestyle changes that have happened, and because of the economic slowdown in the immediate current year, a lot of businesses have had difficulties in continuing, and a lot of shops and retail sector has closed also. Now, commercial real estate has been very badly affected in the current year. As the real economy and the old economy starts picking up space in the next couple of years to follow, I am sure that the commercial real estate will also stabilize.
But the problem is now, if you want to buy property in Bangalore MG Road, if the purchase price is for say around 18,000 rupees per square feet as per guidance rate, but actual price may be 15,000. That is the problem in.
No, but recently the FM has made that announcement only to safeguard the residential sector, where you can sell below the 20% of the guideline value. But for commercial or for land, that benefit has not been given. What I am trying to say here is, if you are buying into commercial, be prepared to have lower yield for the next 2 years, and your yield will start moving up thereafter. So, if you are getting something at a discounted price and it is giving you a reasonable yield, it is okay to invest in commercial real estate also. But my take would be better at this point in time to invest in residential real estate. Because residential real estate has been in a recession for the last 8 years now, and
but there is no rent parity, no.
See, residential real estate today is giving you around 3.5 to 4% rental yield.
Mangalore, it is impossible.
You have to choose your city.
Now, if you say 5,000 rupees per square feet, let us take in Bangalore.
See, when you are
builder, if you want to buy 2-bedroom house, 1,000 square feet, it will be 50 lakhs.
See, Mangalore also, as per my experience, is today giving you 3% yield. But a city like say Bangalore or Bombay will give you around 4% yield.
But commercial will fetch more in Bangalore.
See, the risk profile is different. Commercial, the risk profile is like this, that if your tenant leaves your premises, how do you get a new tenant? You may not have an expertise.
You have to compromise at lower rent.
Yeah, you may not have an expertise or infrastructure to market your premises to new tenants. So that's the risk involved in a commercial investment.
Now, our Naveen Rego, investment in gold. That all ladies, they are very much interested in gold ornaments, not gold. But investment in gold. So, you might have seen during last 1.5 years, almost 50-60% jump in gold prices, and consistently that gold prices are increasing. Now, there is little bit that reduction is there, but whether to it is wise decision to invest in gold now at this juncture, or better to be away from that.
So as part of portfolio diversification, gold is always recommended, and gold assets do extremely well during panics. So and that's I think economy also didn't do very well for quite some time, and the gold has done extremely good. For Indian investor, gold has two significance. One is gold as an asset class. Second, it's a play on dollar. So if the dollar appreciates and rupee depreciates, so you are actually taking a play on the dollar also. So with the recent corrections which has happened, I think near about 12 to 13%, I think it would be a good time probably for clients on his overall wealth, and probably clients who are slightly larger in size, 5 to 10% of the allocation, gradually they could build it. And when I say gradually, over the period of next 6 to 12 months, they can gradually come in as part of portfolio diversification. And within that, yeah, jewelry is definitely not investment. We could look at the sovereign gold bonds which are available by Government of India, which are available on a regular basis, which will also give you an yield for investment.
Now can they offload, because if they have taken earlier, now rates are very high.
Correct. So liquidity is not liquidity is not very good, because those are 8 years bond and after 5 years you get liquidity. Exits are slightly bad. So if you are not looking at those and you still want to be part of this, I think gold ETFs or gold mutual funds would probably do that job. But plan it slightly gradually, and don't come in one row. Yeah. So
see,
but it's sorry.
If you look at the long term rate of return on gold, it is normally whatever is the bank rate of interest on your 5-year FD plus 2%. This will be the average return the gold will give you. So gold will always give you over a longer term, not over a shorter term, better return than the FD. So if you are looking at a conservative form of investment, or as a hedging product to inflation, or to or you don't need the money for the next 10, 15, 20 years, then some percentage of portfolio should be in the gold, because it will give you a better rate of return than the FD.
Now only few minutes are left. So before I come to conclusion, one last question I would like to ask: whether to invest in foreign market is better or Indian market is better? Because across the globe the economy has come to very standstill, or it is in negative this. Is it a good time to invest in India or other than India? Which is your suggestion?
See, if you look at the rate of return, it's always higher in an emerging market than in a developed market. When you look at the market wise rate of return, if you are a very savvy and smart investor and you are into HNI category, and if you have selected a particular sector to invest, say like the new economy. Now the new economy, the innovation is happening more in the developed world than in the developing economy. Now you look at all the new economies, whether it is Google or Microsoft or Amazon or whichever sector you name it, it all comes in the developed world. So if you are a very market savvy investor, you can look at the international market, but only in the new economy sector, because the old economy there, if you see the GDP growth over a say 10 years average in the world, it is 3%. Whereas if you see the GDP average in the last 10 years in India, it will be 6.5%.
Correct.
So definitely on a large based investment, India will give you a better rate of return, no doubt about it.
So
but
that means you always pitch for our India,
yeah,
Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Yeah, but if you are looking at new economy investment where not many companies are available in India, then you can look at the developed markets.
Now, Mr. Naveen, now NRIs and returning NRIs, what is your suggestion now? Finally, how they have to plan their investment?
Correct. Yeah. So I think lot of NRIs, and probably if we have viewers from the Middle East side and who would have never paid taxes in their life, and I think first jolt that will happen is when they come to India is you are not tax free, so probably you go through that stages. So I think lot of these NRIs should plan this well, so that I think the transition they don't get too much taxed, and understand the tax law is very clear. Don't get freezed around taxation. I think lot of people are so ignorant, they Google and then they want to not disclose. A lot of people are not aware that NRI deposits are tax exempt.
That is more dangerous.
Yeah, so I think there are RBI guidelines which are very clear that once you step in India and you have no intentions to go back, you can't continue NRI account. And I think a lot of banks also are not very sure about how to answer answer this question. So be very clear on the taxation aspect. Don't go on the wrong side of the law. And then plan your overall investment exactly like a resident Indian does, based on his risk profile. You want regular income or you want capital growth. And so the only extra variable for these people would be the taxation, which will come in. And because if you are an NRI from other than Middle East, you would have already had taxation, so you are aware. But most of these Middle East viewers probably might not know that there is a tax impact, and there are good tax laws which does not
if
really
they want to return India, before that itself better
they
to
can
consult
plan
proper
it.
financial
Yes,
consultant or
correct. Or yeah, don't Google too much. Google
Yeah.
gives a lot of information but not knowledge and help. Yeah.
Okay, very nice. Sir, what is your last piece of advice to the investors during this post-COVID or during this post-COVID time?
I would give one advice to all the investors, that broad base your investment portfolio. Don't put all eggs in one basket, and do consult an expert to maximize your returns, because when you invest without having the full knowledge or with half knowledge, you are taking higher risk.
Okay. So that means you should not drive in a curvy road, no blind overtaking.
Yeah, that's
you have
right.
to invest your funds with the proper advice. So that's why we have made one program, Money Wise, Be Wise. So today we heard a lot from two wise people. So it was nice to have a lot of piece of advice from wise people. So thank you, sir, for your 1.5 hours time by disseminating knowledge to our viewers in this show. CADB Mehta, thank you very much.
you.
At the same time, our Naveen Julian Rego, for you also, thank you very much. ವೀಕ್ಷಕರೇ, ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿದೆಯಾ ಫೈನಾನ್ಸ್, ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸೇಷನ್, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್? ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಟಾನಿಕ್ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಮರುಪ್ರಸಾರ ಇದೇ ಬುಧವಾರ ರಾತ್ರಿ 9:00 ಮರುಪ್ರಸಾರಗೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಇದು ನಮ್ಮ 96ನೇ ಸಂಚಿಕೆ. ಇವತ್ತು ನಾನು ಬಹಳ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆಯಿಂದ ಹೇಳುವುದೇನೆಂದರೆ, ನಮ್ಮ 100ನೇ ಸಂಚಿಕೆಯನ್ನು ಜನವರಿ 3ರಂದು ಸಂಡೇ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಎ ಗ್ರ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ವೇ. ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಹಿತಿಯನ್ನು ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಎಪಿಸೋಡಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ, ಸೊ ಯೋಗಕ್ಷೇಮಂ ಯಹಾಮ್ಯಹಂ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಸೊ ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಸರ್ವೇ ಜನಾಃ ಸುಖಿನೋ ಭವಂತು. ಆಲ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಬಿ ವೈಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸೇ, ಯು ನೀಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಪ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ವಿರಾಮವನ್ನು ಹಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ.